It's a beautiful day today and we're reading some more Am I the Devil? The subreddit where every single Am I the A-hole post has been labelled as the a-hole. And also the subreddit that is so fun to read. Enjoy, guys. Am I the a-hole? My son says that we treat him like a secretary. My son, Harry, male 25, recently got into a big fight with me on Easter. He is getting married in May, so it was his last Easter as part of the household. On the day, we made plans to have a family dinner, but Harry said that he had plans. I asked whether he'd be home in time for family dinner, and he said maybe. But since it was going to be the last Easter with us, I didn't want him to spend it somewhere else. So I told him that his mother was working hard to make the dinner, and I wanted him to be home for it. So he agreed and said that he'd still have plans, but he would be home in time for dinner. Come dinner time, most of my family wasn't hungry, and my wife didn't feel up to cooking, so our family dinner ended up being just a takeout order of Chinese food for two of our youngest kids, ages 12 and 14. Harry was on his way home, so I called and explained the situation, and I asked if he could pick up the food. He said sure. When he got home with the food, he slammed it down on the counter and turned to leave, but something was obviously wrong, so I followed him outside. I asked him what the big idea was, and he said that he cancelled plans because he wanted to have a family dinner, something that rarely happens according to him, and that instead he just waited in a parking lot for 30 minutes to pick up food for his siblings. I asked him what was so wrong with that, and he yelled and asked if we even thought to order him something or ask if he wanted anything if mum wasn't going to cook. He said some extremely hurtful things about his siblings and us, parents, and basically topped it off by saying, "I'm so glad I don't have to spend my days waiting on you all hand and foot anymore." I told him that he's being unnecessarily cruel and that we don't treat him like that. He listed off a few other unfortunate incidents, mainly us forgetting his birthday, which I'll admit happened a couple of times, and me and his older brother leaving his graduation ceremony early since we both had work to get done. He said he's never felt like a son to me and that he hopes that I'll find another secretary willing to work for free like I did. Then he got in his car and stormed off. He's been mostly ignoring our calls since. This isn't the first time that he's had an outburst like this, but it is the first time in several years. Before, my wife and I always chalked it up to teenage stress and angst, but here he is at 25 parroting the same complaints. I guess I'm wondering if there's some merit to them. My wife is saying that he's just spoiled and acting out, but he really didn't seem that way to me. So am I the a-hole for this? Spoiled and acting out? What's your wife talking about? At least you're open to the idea that you might be in the wrong, which you definitely are, by the way, but to turn around and say, "Oh, he's just spoiled, get out of here." The top comment says, so let's see. Number 1, you forgot his birthday multiple times. Number 2, you left his graduation ceremony for work. Number 3, you knew that he had plans and you pressured him into a family dinner, which didn't even happen because it wasn't convenient to the rest of the family, but you didn't even bother to notify him in time. Number 4, you had him pick up the replacement dinner without even ordering him anything. And number 5, you downplayed everything to teenage stress and angst instead of stepping back and looking at the bigger picture. The better question here is, how are you not the a-hole? Everything you've listed pretty much says, I only care about my son when it's convenient to me. That's not love, and he knows it. The only positive thing here is that since he's already an afterthought to you, you probably won't feel too bad when you realise he hasn't talked to you in a few years. You the a-hole. Edit, I should mention that it's never too late to turn things around. You've done a lot of damage, so it will definitely take a long time to repair it, but if you actually want to continue having a relationship with your son, then you need to start with some reflection on all of this, and then a sincere apology. Then you have to actually change and start treating him like the priority that he always should have been. Eventually he may forgive you. Yeah, and like the comment under that says, yeah, but at least he's now opening up to the possibility of being the a-hole. His wife, who continues to downplay and invalidate, seems to be the bigger a-hole. Yeah, that's so wild. Like, yeah, you need to step back and be like, hold on a second, do I play a role in this? Is there anything I might have done to cause this? And yeah, there's plenty of stuff by the sound of it. I'm so addicted to reading this stuff. Post number 2, would I be the a-hole if I tried to kick my roommate off campus? I, 18 female, met my roommate, 18 female, the summer before college started. I didn't know her before, but we shared similar interests and we got along well. She was super sweet, super nice, and I thought that we'd become friends. I was wrong. In the first month of college, I made many efforts to become best friends with her. I constantly hung out with her, invited her to stuff, and even would take the time to walk her to class and pick her up from class. I'd wake her up at 6 a.m. to get breakfast with me or complete a morning workout with me. When she was oversleeping for her morning classes, I'd gently remind her so that she could get there on time. When she was out late past 9 p.m, I'd call her to make sure she was getting back safe. Even though we only met a month ago, I considered her my best friend. Right, okay. This already feels like way too much. Like, take a step back. It wasn't until later in the semester that things got weird. One week, she randomly unshared her location with me. You had her location? I noticed it almost immediately as I check her location pretty often so I can pick her up from class or meet up with her wherever she was. She also stopped coming back to the room until late at night, 11 p.m. to 12 a.m, when I'd already be asleep. Some nights she didn't even come back at all. It seemed like she was doing all that she could to avoid me, even after all the efforts I put into our friendship. Yeah, but I mean, you need to take that as a hint, and from the sound of this, you were coming on so strong. You don't need their location. They're probably scared. A few times I saw her, we'd always have problems. In the beginning of the semester, she told me that I could use the plastic spoons that she had in her desk, but after she started being distant, she caught me grabbing a spoon from her desk and got mad at me. I didn't understand why she got mad at me when the spoons were communal. She also stopped doing her share of the chores. I was supposed to take out the trash while she vacuumed, and constantly shed her curly hair on my side of the room. When I brought it up with her, she said that it couldn't have been her hair because her hair is straight and mine is curly, but hair never lands in a straight line when it falls. She also got mad at me when I'd leave my dirty dishes out. I would take them home so my parents could wash them in the dishwasher at home, but they were on my side of the room so it wouldn't have been able to affect her. Wait a second, what? You'd take dirty dishes home so you could wash them in a dishwasher? I'm so confused. I started to find out that she was not the clean, go to bed early, wake up early person that she said that she was. Then from another friend I had, I found out that my roommate had been trash talking me behind my back. She was telling her other group of friends that I was messy, clingy, and stalkerish. Oh my god, is this a joke? I was angry at her words as I spent so much time trying to befriend her while she was ruining my reputation. Oh, come on. Tell me that what you've said here does not sound stalkerish. You had their bloody location. I feel very unsafe in her presence, and I feel like I can't make any friends on campus due to her hurtful words. I turned down the offer to move out as I feel that it's unfair for me to have to move out when I've done nothing wrong. Would I be the a-hole if I tried to kick my roommate out instead? This can't be real, can it? The top comment, she'd also get mad at me when I'd leave the dirty dishes out. I would take them home so my parents could wash them in the dishwasher at home. Ah, so close, but you trolled too close to the sun. Yeah, is it a joke? I feel like it is, but I also feel like it isn't. And this comment, yeah, you are the a-hole. You're doing way too much. Nobody wants somebody to walk them to class. If you have the same class or classes that start at the same time in adjacent buildings, that's the only situation where that would be logical. Nobody wants to be picked up after class. No one wants to have a check-in if they're out past 9. You're not her mother. The fact that you immediately notice when she unshared her location is proof that you're abusing the privilege. And the dishes? If it's enough of a poll to make it worth driving home to run a dishwasher load, it's way too many dirty, stinky, bug-drawing dishes in a small room. Them being on the other side of the room does not make them invisible. And if it is a small amount of dishes, if you know it bothers your roommate, then just wash them. You haven't described any behavior by your roommate that would make you feel unsafe. If anything, she's actively avoiding you. Move to another room, meet new people, and stop acting so needy. Somebody being assigned to sleep in the same space as you does not make them accountable to you. And also, like this comment, you the a-hole, you smothered her. Just because you want to be best friends with somebody doesn't mean you can force it. From your own description, you do actually sound messy. Do your dishes when you use them, and stalkerish, so there isn't a surprise that you'd tell others that. You should move out because you're the one causing the problems here. And stop making your parents do your dishes. You're an adult, do your own. Yeah, I'm not completely convinced that this is real, and I'm kinda hoping it isn't. Post number 3. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to help with chores to focus on work? My girlfriend and I rent together and have been having arguments about me helping out around the house. My girlfriend, 27 female, and I, 31 male, both work. She works a 9 to 5 office job, and I joined a growing startup working last year, having a 60 to 80 hour work week. 3 to 4 times a week I need to drive 150 to 200 kilometers to visit warehouses or talk to clients. So when I arrive home, I'm usually extremely tired. For me, once I get home after being on the road for 9 hours, I'd like to put my feet up for a bit before going back to work on my computer. But my girlfriend always wants me to help her with something, whether it's cleaning or taking care of the dog or cooking sometimes immediately after I get home. This has been actively hurting our relationship. I want to catch my breath and then work more to grow the company. Where she wants me to participate is helping her out and be a team player. We always have arguments when I need to focus and get back to work, and she feels that I'm dumping the full load onto her. When we get into these arguments, it drains me mentally, and it's not a fun environment to be in. Compensation-wise, she makes 50% of my salary, therefore I pay 75% of the rent, and almost 100% of dining out, groceries, and share my car. Right now, it's 65-35 between us in the household duties and cooking, but I feel like she should support me by participating more around the house and letting me recharge when I need to. Am I the a-hole for having this mentality, thinking that she should do more around the house while I work harder? Yeah, like this comment says, from the schedule you describe, working 60 to 80 hours a week with frequent long commutes, getting home to briefly put your feet up before going back to work on the computer, is it really a 65-35 split on chores? What would your girlfriend say is the split? Probably more like 80-20? You would be the a-hole if you assume that your girlfriend should be doing most of the housework. I get the rationale though. You work more and you earn more and you contribute more money to the house. But money is one, but not the only factor in a relationship when it comes to allocation of who does what and who takes responsibility for what, etc. Don't assume, make it a discussion, and openly and non-defensively hear all the stuff that she's been thinking about on the issue. Yeah, definitely. Post number 4 is called Am I the a-hole for telling my wife that people don't give a damn about her looks? My wife is in the habit of always putting on makeup whenever she has to go outside. In the 3 years that we've been married, I've never never seen her leave the house without any makeup on. Even if she had to go to the neighbor's house, she'd still put on her makeup. I've spoken to her about this many times as I find it absurd, to say the least, but the only answer that I get from her is that she likes to take extra care of the way she looks. It gets even more frustrating whenever our plans are delayed because she spends so much time on her makeup. Yesterday, my wife had to go to the supermarket and asked me if I could take her there. She's too nervous to drive ever since she had a minor traffic accident over a year ago, so I have to drive her around. I had a lot of work piled up for that day and I didn't want to be disturbed when I was in the middle of it, so I said that we'd have to go right then and return within an hour. She said okay and sat down to put on her makeup. I was pissed when I saw that and I told her that we had to hurry since I knew that she'd take more than 40 minutes at the supermarket and the drive to the supermarket could take anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes. 5 minutes went by and she was still not ready, said she was putting on the finishing touches. That's when I lost it and I yelled at her. I said that people didn't give a damn about how she looked and that she should stop deluding herself and wasting my time. For a moment she just stared at me and then she broke down and started sobbing. We didn't go to the supermarket, needless to say. Also, she hasn't been talking to me at all since yesterday. I don't know what to make out of the situation. On the one hand, I feel bad for her, but on the other hand, I feel like she was being unreasonable and needed a wake-up call. Am I the a-hole? There are some really good comments here. Are you the a-hole for yelling at your wife? Yeah. Are you the a-hole for telling her nobody cares about how she looks? Yeah. So for the questions you asked and the point of the post, you the a-hole most definitely. Now, have you had a conversation with your wife about respecting others' time? In the specific situation, she asked a lot.